This is part 2 from yesterday. It's the ultimate manifestation of the mirror neuron. We can put on a garment that has been engineered with intention, a piece that has weight, structure, a deliberate silhouette, and a point of view. Your posture changes, your shoulders drop, your confidence spikes. You think more abstractly. But think about what happens logically in your mind when you interface with real design. Your intellect instantly recognizes the intentionality of the designer. Slip into a cheap mass-produced jacket built solely for utility, your mood remains unaltered. But who you are in that exact minute, you stand tall. Your gaze tightens. You hold yourself differently because your internal self-image recalibrates to match the high visual standard you are presenting to the world. You are absorbing the energy, the confidence, and the raw intent of the design. You aren't just covering your body, you are becoming a living extension of the art. When a visionary designer spends months draping fabric, selecting textures, and manipulating scale, they are pouring a specific psychological narrative into the cloth. They are expressing strength, defiance, intellectual precision, or avant-garde freedom. When you purchase and wear that specific creation, you are buying the right to inhabit that mood. The material becomes an extension of your true persona. It acts like a spiritual megaphone, multiplying your natural character traits and broadening your conceptual thinking. You move through a crowded downtown sidewalk for breakfast as an active concept, a breathing, painting, and a fully realized philosophy, for example. And let's not forget the dopamine. Modern fashion has perfected the same reward loops as sports through drop culture. The anticipation of a limited release, the high stakes of trying to secure a piece before the site crashes, the thrill of the hunt for a rare grail item, that is the exact same dopamine rush as a buzzer-beating three-pointer. Winning the opportunity to own the art triggers the exact same biological high. Think clear-headedly about the total online shopping mechanics of today's streetwear and high luxury markets. You sit huddled over your phone screen or computer setup, your finger hovering anxiously over the refresh key, your heart beats faster, the clock counts down to the exact millisecond. You know that tens of thousands of individuals around the globe are staring at the exact same page, attempting to achieve the exact same objective. The digital counter hits 0. You click, the page buffers, your adrenaline is surging, and when you finally secure that order, confirmation email, your mind swims in a massive flash of neurochemical reward. It is a direct affirmation. You defeated the odds, outmaneuvered the competition, and conquered the moment. It instantly reminds us of the euphoria a sports fan feels when the underdog team defies every single mathematical statistic and lands a game-winning shot in double overtime. So why do we do it? Why do we tie our happiness, our style, and our chemical balance to teams we don't play for and brands we don't own? Why do we devote creative thinking, serious capital, and massive mental capacity to entities outside of our absolute physical workspace? Why do we defend a head coach on a head coach's on-field tactics, to coworkers on a Monday morning, or debate the subtleties of a new creative director's direction on fashion forums late into the night? It's because humans deeply desire resonance. We simply do not wish to exist in a neutral vacuum. We crave high stakes and deep emotional connection. We want to feel the total weight of life. And we want to consciously know that our personal tastes actually stand for real meanings. Tying our identity to these greater cultural organizations expands the scope of our day-to-day persona narrative. Because at the end of the day, sports and fashion are solving the same human problem. They are emotional cheat codes. They bypass the common barriers of everyday thinking and speak directly to your eternal ego. They offer an instant pathway to feelings of superior competency, splendid beauty, and high standing. And Instead of forcing you to build an empire or train 12 hours a day to secure global stature, they give you an immersive ticket to those exact heights. You get to wrap yourself in great achievements, masterful artistry, and monumental moments right away. They fast track your mind out of low-level complacency and keep your passions performing on a dynamic level. They provide us with two things that modern society constantly tries to dilute: profound community and a sense of elevated identity. Look around at contemporary culture. It is highly fractured, hyper-isolated, and stripped of rich community gatherings. People sit in silos moving through highly predictive routines. Yet, we have an untapped internal need to be united under a distinct shared focus. We long to look at a room of complete strangers and instantly understand their motivations, their standards, and their standards of value. When you wear the right aesthetic signifiers, you uncover unspoken dialect. You instantly recognize true allies in the crowd. You signal your exact standard of execution to everyone present, immediately lifting yourself out of the background. Life can be mundane. It can be repetitive. It can feel isolated. But when you step into a stadium or when you put on a garment that feels like armor, you are stepping out of the ordinary. You are joining something bigger than yourself. The normal day-to-day matrix can easily feel empty. The commutes, the deadlines, and the predictable realities wear on your internal flame. But when you consciously engage in true fandom or authentic high style, you break the script. You are declaring that you do not belong to the mundane. When you put on an impeccably structured overcoat that shields you from the external elements, it functions conceptually as shielding for your internal soul. It protects your artistic intellect, solidifies your personal resolve, and elevates your expectations. You are no longer just walking through a city street, you are commanding it. People don't just buy a product, they don't just watch a game. They buy into a narrative. They buy into a story that makes them feel like a more powerful, authentic, and elevated version of themselves. The item or the game on the screen is merely the vehicle. The real prize is the way it commands you to perceive your own potential. You are purchasing a concrete manifestation of taste, class, perseverance, or artistic brilliance. You want to see yourself as a competitor, a creator, or a dynamic force. Therefore, you surround yourself with the symbols, the apparel, and the triumphs that express that pure ambition. The story is everything. It aligns your actions, clarifies your focus, and inspires you to aspire to greatness. That is the power of the tribe. It's the power of shared victory. It means recognizing that you are completely interconnected with creators, visionaries, and pioneers. When the collective moves forward, when the collective moves forward, you move forward with them. You taste the direct fruit of the supreme excellence, savoring the thrill of perfect execution and letting it transform your mental outlook. And that is exactly why I created SUPEREMINENT. Hit that subscribe button. Join the inner circle. Stay locked in. Again, this is SUPEREMINENT. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.